Yes, sir.
I think more than 250 participants are there because today's timing is little
Yes,
bit
sir.
early
Yes, sir.
compared to 3:30. So some may be engaged in
Yes, sir.
lectures or other duties. I think it is the right time. I can see 260,
Yes, sir.
264. So the number is increasing. We start the program.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay. A very warm welcome to one and all. A very good afternoon. I, Professor Kajal Bhaviskar, working as Assistant Professor at Kekewa College of Pharmacy, would like to extend warm welcome to today's resource person, Mrs. Jayashree Dande ma'am, Dr. K.S. Jain, Principal, Kekewa College of Pharmacy, Professor Hirode sir, Principal, Kekewa Institute of Pharmacy, all the respected dignitaries, staff members, delegates, and of course, dear students. As we all know, currently the world is facing COVID pandemic. To combat this disease, it is necessary to know various aspects of the diseases like its pathogenesis, that is, the chain of events which leads to this diseases. Also, what are the immune responses produced by our body against this disease, that is, to fight this disease. Therefore, to have more insights about SARS-CoV-2 infection, pathogenesis, and immune response, we have amongst us highly intellectual, young, and dynamic personality, Mrs. Jayashree Dhandeman. Now, I would like to invite Principal Sir Dr. K.S. Jain to welcome all the guests and say a few words. Please, sir.
Good afternoon, one and all. I heartily welcome today's resource person, Jayashree Madam, our Honorable President of the Society, our trustees, our Honorable Secretary, all principals, all dear staff members, and dear students. This is in continuation to our webinars which we started taking under the joint auspices of COVID Care Committee and Pharmacy Institutions. And all up till now, we had taken 3 webinars, and this is again the fourth webinar, and we are receiving very good response, and the content and the topics are also very appropriate, and the speakers have also done remarkable job. Today also we have selected a uh, very important topic, that is the SARS-CoV-2 infection, that is named after the SARS-CoV-19 coronavirus or virus, we can say. Uh, and its infection, its etiology, pathogenesis, and what happens, how the body gives the immune response, and what are the implications. And we have a very, very able speaker, uh, Jayashree Dhande Madam, who is in the Immunology and Serology Division of National AIDS Research Institute. Incidentally, AIDS is also caused by a virus only. So she is an expert in virology, and therefore I think we will have definitely more knowledge added to our report here. Kekewag Education Society, Kekewag Education Society has been organizing various important webinars by all its 36 constituent institutions, and we have started undertaking so many other uh, knowledge imparting activities as well as social activities, particularly during the pandemic. We have formed the COVID Care Committee, uh, basically to take care of our staff members who have suffered COVID or who are undergoing COVID treatment, and also creating awareness of the immunization, giving the up-to-date day-to-day knowledge about availability, sometimes even going to the doorsteps of the affected people and helping them out. And there are so many camps organized. Some of the very enthusiastic staff members of engineering and polytechnic college, including our Kiran Sonamne sir, they are doing a lot of such type of social activity, like even arranging the ambulances and supplying food stuff to various underprivileged people. particularly affected by corona. So, in line with this, it is our endeavor to educate the staff and the students of our society about this pandemic, which is now uh, we started somewhere officially in the month of March 2020, we can say. It's already completed more than 1 year. Second, the nature of the pandemic was quite a bit severe, and we hear that there may be a third wave, and day by day, the knowledge of the healthcare as well as the professional research professionals is increasing about the COVID virus and about the human immunological response. And so many drugs are going off the counter. Some new therapies are added. Also, the alternate therapies are also playing a role. And also these SOPs and common practices. Earlier form was little bit, slogan was to keep a 2 meters distance. New form, they have found it is even spreadable through air, and the concept of double mask has come. And there are so many other things because this is all a new thing. And I wish to emphasize 12 months is not sufficient for anybody, including America or Europe, come out with a drug. So various different scientifically based approaches are adopted, whether it is the therapy, whether it is the prevention, or the cure. And slowly people are coming out. Mankind will definitely find better ways once he gets acquainted with this sudden calamity, which is of global nature. But slowly, uh, situation is turning to win-win, and we need to enrich our knowledge more and more. So even at our level, we should be aware about the do's and do nots. And with this purpose, we have arranged certain eminent resource persons lectures. And in that continuation, today I welcome Jayashree Madam to enlighten all the audience about the virus, its structure, its mutation, how it infects, what is after it enters the body, what what happens, and what is the body's immune response at the cellular level, and many other things which I may also find new. So, Kajal Madam, I request you to proceed further with the program. I do not.
Yes, sir. Now I would request our resource person, Mrs. Jayashree ma'am, to please accept virtual felicitation.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now let me introduce our speaker, Mrs. Jayashree Dhande ma'am. Madam has completed MSc in microbiology from Savitribai Phule Pune University. Also, she has qualified GATE and MHSET in life sciences. She has received Senior Research Fellowship awarded by Indian Council of Medical Research, New Delhi in March 2019. Currently, she is working as a Senior Research Fellow and pursuing her doctoral work in Department of Immunology and Serology at National AIDS Research Institute, Pune. She has presented posters at many national as well as international conferences. To her credit, she has many publications in reputed journals. Her area of research includes HIV-specific antibodies, killing of HIV latent reservoirs by HIV antibodies, role of memory B cells in HIV non-disease progression, HIV-specific innate and adaptive immune responses at mucosal level. Now, without much ado, I would request Madam to please take over.
Okay, thank you, madam, for the kind introduction. So, at the very first, I would like to express my gratitude to the Honorable Secretary of KK Education Society, Professor K.S. Bandi, Principal Sir Dr. K.S. Jain, then Professor R.A. Hiroe, and the KK COVID Care Committee members for giving me this opportunity to deliver this talk on such a nice platform. Actually, I'm feeling very honored today to be here with you to give this webinar. Now, I will share my screen. So my screen is visible.
Yeah, madam.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
You have to start the slideshow. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So, as we all know, the whole world is facing today the biggest pandemic of our time, something for which man was not prepared. That's the COVID-19 pandemic. So today in this session, basically, we'll discuss some basic aspects of SARS-CoV-2 infection, its pathogenesis, and the immune response. So,
ठेवतो थांबतो मला लेक्चर चालू झालं बरं.
I think he has muted everyone. Continue, madam. Yes.
okay, now I'm audible?
Yeah, madam.
Yeah. So I'll be delivering my talk mainly in English, and if needed somewhere, I'll speak in Marathi or Hindi so that the concepts will be better understood. So first, we'll see the outline. In today's session, we'll cover current global situation of COVID-19. Then we'll see the classification of the virus, then its evolution and mutations, how this virus is transmitted. Then we'll see the structure and life cycle of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, its pathogenesis, then immune responses to this infection, and how the vaccination provides immunity, and something about the COVID test. So, as we all know that in Wuhan city of China in December 2019, this novel coronavirus was emerged, and it was named as SARS-CoV-2 virus, that is the severe acute respiratory syndrome causing virus, that is SARS-CoV-2, and it causes the disease which is called COVID-19. So, according to WHO, as per the data from WHO as of 27th May, so in all, there are 16 crore 80 lakh 40,871 confirmed cases are there, of which 5 lakh 39,384 are new cases, and up to 27th of May, around 34 lakh 94,758 deaths were confirmed, and around 154 crore vaccine doses have been administered to the people around the world. So we'll see current Indian situation. So again, data from WHO as of 27th May, they have reported 2 crore 73 lakh 69,093 cases, of which 2 lakh 11,298 are new cases, which is a really a big number. And up to 27th May, there have been 3,15,235 deaths. In India, around 20 crore people have been vaccinated. So we'll move to the classification of this virus. So this SARS-CoV-2 virus, it basically corresponds to the coronavirus family, and to the Coronavirini subfamily. This Coronavirini subfamily, it has 4 genera, that is alpha coronaviruses, beta coronaviruses, gamma and delta coronaviruses. Of these 4 genus, this gamma and delta coronaviruses, they primarily infect the birds, whereas this alpha and beta coronaviruses, they primarily infect the humans. So this our SARS-CoV-2 virus corresponds to the beta coronavirus genus and to the lineage B. Now this is related to MERS-CoV and this two virus strain also. The previous SARS-CoV virus also belongs to the same lineage to which this SARS-CoV-2 virus belongs. Now, how this virus was originated? So here in this figure, we can see that this SARS-CoV virus, which was emerged in 2003, for this and also for MERS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2 virus, the natural host was the horseshoe-shaped bat. Now this SARS-CoV, for this intermediate host was this civet cats, and for MERS-CoV, which was emerged in 2012, the intermediate host was camel, and the SARS-CoV-2, which emerged in 2019, the intermediate host for this was a pangolin. Now here, these 3 viruses, that is the SARS-CoV, MERS-CoV, and SARS-CoV-2 virus, they cause severe infection to humans, whereas these 4 human coronaviruses, that is OC0C43, 229E, NL62, and HKU1, they cause mild infection in humans. Now this virus, this SARS-CoV-2 virus, it is emerged from certain mutations in the its structure and has caused the pandemic. Now this was about the how this infection or the how this virus it transmitted to humans from the animals, that is the zoonotic transmission. Now the question is how this virus is transmitted from human to human. So it is transmitted through the small droplets, which can be of size 5 to 50 micrometer, then larger droplets of 50 to 100 micrometer. And again, if the person comes in contact with the infected person, then there will be the transmission. And also the transmission is through the contaminated surfaces. Now we'll in brief discuss the structure of SARS-CoV-2 virus. Now this SARS-CoV-2 virus, it is basically an envelope virus. It has positive sense single-strand RNA as its genetic material and have 4 structural proteins, namely spike protein, nucleocapsid protein, membrane protein, and envelope protein. And its diameter ranges from 60 to 140 nanometer. Now this image is of the electron micrograph, that is the electron microscopic image of the human coronavirus, that is the SARS-CoV-2. Now here, if you can see this protrusions from the surface of this virus, they are due to the spike proteins which are present on the viral surface. Now this spike proteins, they give corona-like structure, that is solar corona-like structure. If you can see in this image, this is solar corona. So it resembles to this solar corona, so it is named as coronaviruses. Corona, it is basically a Latin word which means crown. Now we can just elaborate something about the spike protein because it is very important for the infection of the virus. So this spike protein, it consists of S1 subunit and S2 subunit. S2 subunit is also called as a stop fusion domain, which is attached to the viral membrane, and S1 subunit, it protrudes out of the membrane. Now this S1 subunit, it has receptor binding motif. This receptor binding motif, that is the RBD domain, it has affinity for SCE2 receptor, that is the angiotensin enzyme receptor on the host cell, So when this spike interacts with the ACE2, it gets entry inside the host cell. So this is very important protein for which gives the virulence to this SARS-CoV-2 virus. Now we will see what how these viruses are mutated and what are the genetic similarity of these viruses to the previously reported viruses. So here we can see this SARS-CoV-2 virus, it has 50% of similarity with the MERS-CoV virus. It has 79% similarity with SARS-CoV virus and has 88 to 96% similarity with the bat SARS-CoV and 91% similarity with the pangolin SARS-CoV virus. Now, this virus have emerged from the certain mutations which occurred in this structural proteins which confer the virulence to this virus that resulted in alteration in the host interaction and again which caused the aggressive disease, that is the COVID. Now, what is the reason why this virus they change or they mutate? We'll see in brief. Like suppose this is a virus. Now virus, it has genetic material, RNA or DNA. Now this SARS-CoV-2 virus, it has RNA as its genetic material. So this RNA molecules, they can be composed of A, C, G and U, that is the nucleotides in different combinations. Now imagine a bike lock, that is a combination lock which has 3 wheels and has 4 options. So the probability of the combinations is about 3 raised to 4. Okay, now imagine this lock has 30,000 wheels. Okay, this lock, it has 30,000 wheels, which is the entire genome sequence of this virus. Now, when this virus spreads, okay, as it's transmitted from one person to other, one host to other, it copies this sequence as it replicates. So sometimes during this replication or the spread, some changes happen in the sequence of this genetic material of the virus. So this basically happens due to the polymerases which are responsible for the replication. They are error-prone enzymes. Okay, so what they do, this polymerase enzyme during replication, they add the nucleotides to the growing strand. So during addition, sometimes it misincorporate the nucleotides. That is, it add the some incorrect bases, causing the changes in the sequences. So most of the times, whatever misincorporated nucleotides or bases are added, they don't alter how the virus works. But sometimes what happens, these alterations are like that the virus is not able to infect, okay, and they tend to die out. And sometimes the variation can make the virus very stronger, better at transmitting, or more resistant to the immune system. So these strains, they are uh, major concern. They can thrive. Okay, now how these mutations or those whatever changes in the viral sequence, the variants which are emerging throughout this world, as you know, you might have heard that so many variants are spreading around the globe. So how can we stop? How can we prevent future new variants of the COVID-19 virus? So the answer is we need to stop the spread. In social media, you might have heard that the you have to people are government are focusing, the scientists are focusing on the break the chain. So why is it very essential to break the chain? So here in this figure you will see that the more the virus spreads, the more variants are likely to appear. See here, आधी इथे एकच व्हायरस होता, ठीक आहे. त्यानंतर जसा जसा तो स्प्रेड होत जाणार, त्या एकाचे जवळपास 9 व्हेरियंट झाले, ठीक आहे. सो आणि आपल्याला माहित नाही व्हेन दिस व्हायरस स्प्रेड्स, कधी कुठला of the strong variant which will transmit at a very high capacity will emerge. So suppose this person which is having this variants in green color, it will, if he stays at home, if this person stays at home which is having this variant of the virus, whatever the chain is there, the spread is there, it will be stopped. And the variants which are supposed to develop from this mutant or this strain, they are also the prohibited to develop. So if we can reduce the spread of COVID-19, we can prevent new variants from developing. Now, if suppose this person which is having this mutant, he or she, if they wash their hands, they follow the procedures, the hygiene practices, the whatever strain, the very virulent strain which is to be developed after the transmission, its development will be prohibited. So here we can see. So now if this person, it is vaccinated, okay, so whatever the chain of transmission is there and the new variants which are developing here, they won't be developed. So thing is that we can stop the spread of the virus and prevent strong new variants by getting the vaccine once it's available, then washing the hands, that is uh, following the whatever hygiene practices are there, then keep the social distance, that is at least 1 meter distance, and wearing a mask. Now we'll see how this SARS-CoV-2 virus infects the host, that is the humans. Now, as I told while explaining the structure of the virus, that the spike protein, it has RBD domain of the on the S1 subunit of S. So it attaches to the SCE2 receptor which is present on the host cell surface. So once this binding is done, this attachment is done, the viral and the host membrane will be fused and a virus will enter inside the cell, and then the viral RNA will be released inside the cytoplasm. Now this SARS-CoV-2 virus, it has positive sense RNA. Okay, now positive sense RNA means that it can act as an mRNA, okay, and directly translated into the proteins. And from this positive sense RNA, the translation will be, replication will be done to synthesize the negative strand, and again this negative strand will be used to synthesize the positive sense RNA, which is the genetic material of the virus. And from this positive sense RNA, again the mRNAs will be synthesized, and again the proteins will be translated from this mRNA, and this protein, they will be transported to Golgi complex. Okay, and here the assembly of the positive sense RNA and the proteins will be done into a budding vesicle, and this mature virion will be released via exocytosis. And once this virus is released outside the cell, it will trigger the immune response. Now we'll see in the next slides how this immune response is triggered. Before that, we'll see the SE2 receptor, it is present on which cells? Okay, basically, first it is present on lung epithelial cells, then it is also present on goblet cells, ciliated cells of nose, then type 2 pneumocytes of lung. They are also present on the gut cells. They are also present in endothelial cells of in the circulation, then cardiac myocytes, etc. So now here they are also present on the olfactory. Just they are also present on the olfactory neurons of the central nervous system. Now, this presence of SE2 receptor, from this we can just see that when if the lung epithelial cells, they have SE2 receptor, means virus will go and bind there. So whatever pneumonia we see in the COVID patients is because of that this virus, it binds here and infects the cells. Then again, if we can see that olfactory neurons of the central nervous system, they do have this ACE2 receptor, means that virus will also go and bind there. So the loss of smell and loss of taste, which is characteristics of the COVID patients, this is because of this. So we'll see how the body responds to this infection. What are the immune responses that are triggered when this SARS-CoV enters inside the host cells? So as I told, once this SARS-CoV enters inside the cell, it will replicate and come out of the cell. This virus particle will then be ingested by the antigen presenting cells. Okay, these are the phagocytes which ingest this virus particle and chop it. It will chop it into certain peptides, and it will present these viral peptides to the T helper cells. Now, these T helper cells will recognize this peptide, and then they will be activated. These activated cells then will further activate the cytotoxic T cells and B cells. Now, cytotoxic T cells, they will get mature and release certain cytotoxic granules and will destroy the infected cells. And the B cells, they will differentiate into plasma cells and neutralize the virus. We'll see in upcoming slides how this happens. So here, this figure explains the CD8 plus T cell destruction of the virus infected cells. How the CD8 plus T cells, that is the cytotoxic T cells, they destructs or kill the virally infected cells. Now this CD8 plus T cell, they have ability to recognize the infected cell. The T cell receptor which is present on the surface of the CD8 plus T cells, they recognize the antigen which is expressed by the infected cells, and once this interaction happens, they get activated. They have perforin and Granz enzymes inside the cell. So once the activation is there, these granules will be released. Now what this perforin and Granz enzymes do? This perforin, it creates the pore inside the membrane of the infected cell. आता त्या सेलवर त्या परफोरिनमुळे छोटे छोटे पोर्स होणार, ठीक आहे, and these pores, they will allow that gran enzyme to pass through that holes inside the cell. आता हे gran enzyme काय करतात? These gran enzymes, they activate the apoptosis of the cell, and which result in the death of the infected cell. So we'll see how the humoral immune responses happen. So once the B cells which are present in our body, they encounter the antigen, the B cell receptors, that is the membrane bound antibodies which are present on the cell surface of these B cells, will get stimulated and will differentiate into the plasma cells. Now these plasma cells, they have ability to secrete the antibodies in a very high amount. Now these antibodies then will neutralize the virus which is circulating in the body. So what we know about the immune responses to COVID-19? So most of the COVID-19 patients who are recovered from this infection, they have antibodies to the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is detectable in their blood. And they develop these antibodies about 1 to 3 weeks after the symptom starts. So around this period, the patients may start to recover. So these antibodies, they may be present in higher levels in some patients who had more severe disease. And the persons who had mild or asymptomatic infection, they showed low levels of neutralizing antibodies or even undetectable. So why this happens? Because it is possible that in this person, before mounting the humoral immune response, the innate immune response acted and the T cell response cleared the virus. Some recent studies have shown that these neutralizing antibodies may disappear after 3 months, which is really a very major concern, that antibodies really disappear within 3 months. So if a person which was infected with COVID-19 has antibodies against it, is that person is immune and protected from being infected again? So no one knows yet. So what we know, that a person who recovers from a viral infection generally it's protected against new infection. म्हणजे एखाद्या व्यक्तीला जर व्हायरल इन्फेक्शन झालं असेल, आय एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द कोविड इन्फेक्शन, इट इज जनरल, इन जनरल जर व्हायरल इन्फेक्शन झालं तर त्या व्यक्तीमध्ये जो इम्युन रिस्पॉन्स तयार झालेला असतो तो जनरली दुसऱ्या इन्फेक्शन पासून प्रोटेक्शन देतो. पण केव्हा, इफ the antibodies are of adequate quality and quantity. The adequate quality म्हणजे काय की that antibodies they have capacity to neutralize efficiently the virus, and quantity म्हणजे त्यांच्यात higher levels of antibody असणार. So changes in the virus sequence, that is the mutations which are happening in the viruses, they can make prior immunity less effective. म्हणजे जर समजा जसं इन्फ्लुएन्झा व्हायरसच्या बाबतीत घडतं की ह्या एखाद्या व्यक्तीला जर त्या व्हायरसने इन्फेक्शन झालं, सो व्हॉट एव्हर इम्युन रिस्पॉन्स इज जनरेटेड इनसाइड द बॉडी ऑफ दॅट पर्सन, इट मे बी नॉट दॅट इफेक्टिव्ह when that person is reinfected with the other variant of that influenza virus. So protection from reinfection with the common cold, ओके, जी आपल्याला सारी सर्दी होते त्याच्या अगेन्स्ट जे प्रोटेक्शन आहे रिइन्फेक्शनचं, दॅट इज व्हेरी शॉर्ट टर्म, विच इज लेस दॅन 1 year. And for other human coronaviruses like SARS, the antibodies detected a few years later. Now, for COVID-19, we do not yet have enough data to confirm. There is data, but not enough to confirm if antibodies protect, what antibody levels are required for the protection, and how long this protection will last. At the present time, there is no role for a COVID-19 immunity certificate. म्हणजे एखाद्या माणसाला जर कोविड झाला होता, तो रिकवर झाला, त्याच्यात अँटीबॉडी झाल्या, म्हणजे त्याला इम्युन सर्टिफिकेट मिळालं का की मी आता कुठेही जाणार, मी पब्लिक हेल्थ प्रोसिजर्स नाही फॉलो करणार. सो दिस रेस्ट on the as yet unproven assumption that infection really provides long-term protection against reinfection or not. Antibody-mediated immunity is not sufficiently understood till date to offer any guarantees of protection against the reinfection of the COVID-19. So, a positive test cannot be used to exempt anyone from public health measures. So, there is currently insufficient information to conclude whether people who have recovered from COVID-19 and have antibodies are protected from the second infection or not. Now, we'll discuss about about the cytokine storm. Now, cytokine storm, it is nothing but the uncontrollable cytokine secretion which is happening in some COVID infected patients. Now, why this happens? So once the SARS-CoV-2 virus infects the upper respiratory tract cells, the infection moves to the lower respiratory tract, and as the infection spreads, the inflammatory signals are released. Like for example, type 1 interferon signals are released, which in turn activates the dendritic cells, monocytes, and macrophages, which then release certain cytokines and chemokines, which activates the immune response and carry out the destruction of the virally infected cells via the NK cells. Okay, now what happens if the infection is clear? Okay, so the whatever inflammation is there, that will be suppressed. But if at all there is some infection still is there, it is not sufficiently cleared, then there will be continuous trigger of this inflammatory signals will be there, and continuous production of the cytokines will be there. That is the progressive hyperinflammation. So this caused the cytokine storm. Now, due to this cytokine storm, what happens? The outcomes are ARDS, that is acute respiratory distress syndrome, then multi-organ failure, hyperinflammation syndrome, and in some cases, it may lead to the death. Now, what is this ARDS? That is acute respiratory distress syndrome. That is how basically COVID-19 feels. So, this is nothing but a lung disease which is triggered by COVID-19 in some people. In these people, the lungs are filled with the fluid, and for this people, breathing becomes impossible. Oxygen levels they go down, and for this, the cure is time, basically, with artificial breathing. So normally, what happens when the oxygen enter inside the lung, it will reach to alveoli, that are the air sacs, which exchange the oxygen and carbon dioxide. So in healthy breathing, what happens? The oxygen it will enter inside the air sac, okay, and it will pass through the membrane to the blood cells, which are ह्या ज्या अल्व्हिओलाय असतात किंवा एअर सॅक्स असतात त्यांच्या आजूबाजूला ज्या ब्लड सेल्स असणार त्यामध्ये तो ऑक्सिजन जाणार आणि दॅट ऑक्सिजनेटेड ब्लड विल फ्लो टू द हार्ट अँड देन टू द रेस्ट ऑफ द बॉडी. But what happens in COVID-19 is that when the cytokine storm is there, or the cytokine, or we can say the progressive hyperinflammation is there, the immune cells are infiltrated inside the alveoli, this lungs or the alveoli, which suffocate this membrane, the alveoli, because it is surrounding this membrane of the alveoli, and because of that the oxygen which is entering inside the alveoli, it can't pass through the membrane to the nearby blood cells, and ultimately the oxygenated blood flow will not be there to the heart and to the rest of the body, and due to the oxygen lacking in oxygen, organs fail. So overall, we'll see how the COVID-19 infects and how its pathogenesis. So first, when the SARS-CoV-2 virus enters, it will infect the epithelial cells. That is the phase 1 of the infection. Then in phase, after this infection, the cytokines and chemokines are released, which will cause the immune cell activation, that is acute inflammation. And this immune cell activation will cause the clearance of infection in some cases. Once the infection is cleared, the hyperinflammation will be suppressed by the cells and infection will be resolved. But in some patient, what happens? The infection is not sufficiently cleared. So whatever hyperinflammation is there, that will result in cytokine storm syndrome, neutropenia, then monocytopenia, lymphopenia, which will cause the severe COVID-19, which is characterized by ARDS, shock, kidney injury, organ failure, and secondary infections. So we'll just see in brief how the vaccines induce immunity. What are the vaccines? How they induce the immunity? How really vaccines confer the immunity? How they work? Why is it so important to take the vaccines? So first of all, we'll see the vaccine definition. So what is a vaccine? Vaccine is an agent that resembles a disease-causing microorganism and is often made from weakened or killed forms of the microbes. Like viruses or the microbes, they are killed, they are attenuated by some procedures. They can be used as vaccines, or the toxins can act as vaccines, or the surface proteins of the microbes, they can act as vaccines. So before seeing how vaccine works, we'll see in brief what is the primary and secondary immune response when a pathogen enters inside the body. So when the primary when the microbe or the pathogen enters inside the host body, the primary response, immune response happens, and whatever the antibodies are secreted upon this infection, primary immune response, they are having low affinity. Okay, so when the second exposure is there, whatever memory B cells which were generated during the primary immune response, they will be triggered to produce the antibodies, which will be having more affinity or high affinity and will be in high titer or high level compared to the primary immune response. So how we get immunity through the vaccination? So vaccination is basically based on the knowledge that when we expose a person to non-infectious antigens which are derived from the pathogens, they generate a mild primary immune response. ओके नाउ जेव्हा म्हणजे की एखाद्या व्यक्तीला तुम्ही व्हॅक्सिन देतात म्हणजे काय करतात की त्या तो जो काही पॅथोजन असेल, व्हायरस असेल, मायक्रोब असेल, तर त्याचे जे काही नॉन इन्फेक्शियस अँटीजेन्स असतात बेसिकली ते त्या व्यक्तीला दिले जातात. म्हणजे त्या व्यक्तीमध्ये ऍक्च्युली इन्फेक्शन होत नाही, पण तरी सुद्धा त्या अँटीजेन्समुळे त्या व्यक्तीच्या शरीरात इम्युन रिस्पॉन्स जनरेट होतो आणि त्याची मेमरी तयार होते, which is very important. So when the immune response to vaccination may not be perceived by the host as illness, okay, but it still confirms the immune memory. So when that person who is vaccinated that encounters the real pathogen, whatever memory response was there, that will be triggered, okay, and the immune response will be generated very quickly. So the immunological memory is the reason why vaccine works. So vaccines basically train our immune system to recognize the pathogen when it encounters, and it does it by activating CD4 helper T cells, which in turn stimulates the B cells and CD8 cytotoxic T cells. As I told you that this and when the B cells are activated, they will produce antibodies and neutralize the virus, and cytotoxic T cells, they will be activated and kill the virally infected cells. So now we'll see what are the leading COVID-19 vaccines, in which categories these vaccines fall. So these vaccines are genetic vaccines, okay, then inactivated viral vectors, viral protein plus adjuvant, inactivated SARS-CoV-2. So we will not go in much detail of this. It will require another one lecture to go to explain all these things. Just we will see what are the vaccines which are generated or which are in market right now. So first is, just a minute, from BioNTech Pfizer, that is USA, BNT1 162b2. So this vaccine, it is basically encapsulated mRNA vaccine. ह्या वॅक्सिन मध्ये काय आहे की जो व्हायरसचा mRNA आहे that encodes for the spike protein, okay, that is protected inside a lipid nanoparticle like a soap bubble, and once this is absorbed by the cell, okay, the mRNA, it will be translated into the proteins, and this cell will express the spike protein, which will trigger the immune response. Now next, it is the Novavax from USA. So this is basically a subunit vaccine. So this subunit vaccine, in this the nanoparticles, okay, they are coated with the spike protein, and additional element called adjuvant, it is added, which allows to boost the immune reaction. Next is Moderna from USA. It is also encapsulated mRNA vaccine, like I explained before. Next is Oxford AstraZeneca, that is Covishield from India. So this is the viral vector vaccine. Now ह्या vaccine मध्ये काय केलं त्यांनी की double stranded DNA which encodes the spike protein, it is protected in a safe virus. Okay, so the adenovirus, it is vector in this case. Inside this vector, the double stranded DNA which encodes the spike protein, it is added. So once this DNA enters inside the cell, it will translated into mRNAs, which will then translated into the proteins, and these proteins will be expressed on the cell surface and will trigger the immune response. Next is from Johnson and Johnson USA. This is again the same viral vector vaccine is there. Next is Covaxin from Bharat Biotech India. So this is the inactivated virus vaccine. The inactivated virus vaccine म्हणजे काय की तो व्हायरस SARS-CoV-2 व्हायरस त्याला ते इनॅक्टिवेट करतात केमिकली किंवा फिजिकली. इन दिस केस दे हॅव केमिकली इनॅक्टिवेटेड द व्हायरस बाय अ केमिकल कॉल्ड बीटा प्रोपिओलॅक्टिऑन. सो याला इनॅक्टिवेट करतात म्हणजे काय की याचं जे जेनेटिक मटेरियल आहे RNA इट कॅन्ट रेप्लिकेट. रेप्लिकेशन झालं नाही म्हणजे तुम्हाला मॅच्युअर व्हेरियंट मिळणार नाही, पण whatever proteins are there, they are intact. मग ह्या प्रोटीन मुळे इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स जनरेट होणार. Next is Sinopharm from China. It is also inactivated virus vaccine like Covaxin. Next is from Gamaleya Sputnik V5 Russia. So this vaccine is also a viral vector vaccine. Okay, in this also they have used adenoviruses as a vector, but in this case they for the first dose of the vaccine they used AD26 vector, and for the second dose they used the AD5 vector. Actually they did in their paper, they have whatever the vaccine they have prepared, they have published their information. So they have told that these vectors they use different for 2 doses to avoid whatever prior immunity was there for the adenoviruses. So this when the DNA will enter, and again same mRNAs will be transcribed and will translated into the proteins, then will expressed on the cell surface and will trigger the immune response. So now we'll see how this vaccine will work for controlling the infection. Now imagine a population. Okay, here the black coded persons, they are not infected. Okay, and this orange or yellow, it is infected but with mild symptoms, and the red one with infected but with the severe disease. Now what will happen if we don't have any vaccine? So the infection will spread at a very high rate in the population. Now the vaccine which currently we have, what they do, they block the disease, they reduce the severity of the infection, but they don't block the transmission. See here, the infection, its severity has lowered. Infection is there but severity is lowered. So if the transmission is not blocked, it means we have to still wear mask. Okay, keep social distances and follow the protocols. What we need to take off the mask? We need a vaccine which will actually block the transmission as well as disease. So despite of the vaccination, you should follow the practices of the hygiene practices and the social distances and whatever the protocol which is given by the government and the scientific community. म्हणजे मी वॅक्सिन घेतलं म्हणजे आता मी मोकळा, आता मला काही होणार नाही. इट इज नॉट द केस. यू विल स्टील बी इन्फेक्टेड, युअर disease severity will be lowered, but still you will transmit the infection. आणि आपण बघितलं की जर ट्रान्समिशन खूप झालं, खूप स्प्रेड झाला तर काय होणार, नवीन व्हेरियंट्स येणार. नवी व्हेरियंट्स आली म्हणजे ती पुन्हा तुमचं व्हॅक्सिनेशन घेतलंय त्या व्हेरियंट्सच्या अगेन्स्ट ते खरंच किती काम करणार माहिती नाही. म्हणजे तुम्ही ट्रान्समिशन झालं म्हणजे त्या व्हेरियंट्सची संख्या वाढणार. सो विच इज नॉट अ गुड थिंग. ओके, सो स्टील वी हॅव टू फॉलो द practices. So we'll see next vaccines and the SARS-CoV-2 variants. So if a virus mutates, it can prevent antibody binding and blocking. जर समजा ती जी म्युटेशन्स होतात व्हायरसमध्ये, इट हॅपन्स इन दिस स्पाइक प्रोटीन्स ॲट सर्टन एपिटोप. ज्या एपिटोपला जाऊन अँटीबॉडी बाइंड होणार, नेमकं तिथंच म्युटेशन झालं तर ती अँटीबॉडी जाऊन त्या एपिटोपला बाइंड नाही होणार. सो वॉट एव्हर अँटीबॉडीज यू आर हॅव्हिंग ड्यू टू वॅक्सिनेशन, इफ दे विल वर्क, नो वन नोज. नाऊ आफ्टर इन्फेक्शन ऑर वॅक्सिनेशन काय होतं, जेव्हा इन्फेक्शन होतं आपण आपल्या शरीरामध्ये खूप साऱ्या अँटीबॉडीज बनतात इवन आफ्टर वॅक्सिनेशन. मग त्या अँटीबॉडीज पैकी काही अँटीबॉडीज ह्या बाइंड नाही होणार ड्यू टू म्युटेशन्स, पण काही अँटीबॉडीज आहेत की त्या स्टील दुसऱ्या एपिटोपला जाऊन बाइंड होणार, पण दे विल बाइंड. म्हणजे आपल्या शरीरात ज्या निर्माण झालेल्या अँटीबॉडीज आहेत त्या सगळ्याच निकामी होणार असं नाहीये. त्यातल्या काही अँटीबॉडीज दे विल बी बेनिफिशियल. पण ज्या काही अँटीबॉडीज आता आहेत की ज्या त्या व्हायरसला जाऊन बाइंड होणार पण वापरलेल्या असतो, ह्या टेस्टमध्ये बेसिकली जेव्हा रेप्लिकेशन किंवा सिंथेसिस डीएनए सिंथेसिस चालू असतं तेव्हा तो फ्लुरोसंट डाय असतो, त्याचं मेजरमेंट केलं जातं. सो सीटी व्हॅल्यू काय असते की तुमचं एक बॅकग्राऊंड असतं, ठीक आहे. त्या बॅकग्राऊंड लेवलच्या वर जेव्हा तुम्हाला सिग्नल दिसतो ती सीटी व्हॅल्यू म्हणजे द नंबर ऑफ सायकल्स ऑफ रेप्लिकेशन विच आर रिक्वायर्ड फॉर अ फ्लुरोसंट डाय टू बी डिटेक्टेड, दॅट इज अ सीटी व्हॅल्यू. मग आता जेव्हा तुम्हाला तुमच्या सॅम्पलमध्ये त्या माणसाच्या सॅम्पलमध्ये जर व्हायरल आरएनए जास्त प्रमाणात असेल तर त्याला रेप्लिकेशन करायला कमी सायकल्स लागणार आणि त्याची सीटी व्हॅल्यू ऑटोमॅटिक कमी असणार. म्हणजे कमी सीटी व्हॅल्यू म्हणजे काय की देर इज अ हाय व्हायरल लोड. ओके, आणि इफ सीटी व्हॅल्यू इज हाय म्हणजे काय की तिथे व्हायरल लोड कमी आहे आणि मग तुम्हाला त्याला डिटेक्ट करण्यासाठी खूप सारे रेप्लिकेशन करावं लागतंय, म्हणजे खूप साऱ्या सायकल्स जात आहेत म्हणून खूप सारी सिटी जाते. सो हायर सिटी मीन्स व्हॉट, इट इज द लोअर व्हायरल लोड. ओके, नाउ विल सी अबाउट द अँटीबॉडी टेस्ट. तर अँटीबॉडी टेस्ट मध्ये काय केलं जातं, सो इट इज परफॉर्म बाय द टेक्निक कॉल एलायझा. याच्यामध्ये एक प्लेट असते, त्याच्यामध्ये 96 वेल्स असतात. त्या वेल्स मध्ये त्याच्या सरफेसला व्हायरल अँटीजन कोट केला जातो. तर व्हायरल अँटीजन म्हणजे स्पाइक प्रोटीन पण असतो. तर त्या स्पाइक प्रोटीनच्या अगेन्स्ट किंवा कोविडच्या अगेन्स्ट जर तुमच्या शरीरात अँटीबॉडी असतील, तुम्हाला इन्फेक्शन झालेलं असेल तर देअर विल बी प्रेझन्स ऑफ अँटीबॉडी इन युअर ब्लड. So basically, first the blood sample is taken from the person, and the plasma or the serum is separated from that sample, and then it's added to this plates. आणि जर त्या अँटीबॉडी असणार तर त्या जाऊन त्या अँटीजनला बाइंड होणार आणि त्यामध्ये सेकंडरी अँटीबॉडी कॉन्जुगेट which is specific to the Fc receptor of the antibodies which are present in your sample, that will be added. जर हे कॉम्प्लेक्स फॉर्म झाला असेल अँटीजन अँटीबॉडीचं तर जाऊन त्याला ही सेकंडरी अँटीबॉडी बाइंड होणार आणि ती अँटीबॉडी असते तिला सबस्ट्रेट जेव्हा तुम्ही टाकतात तेव्हा त्याचा कलर डेव्हलप होतो. अशा पद्धतीने ते प्लेट असते आणि त्याच्यामध्ये ही एलायझा परफॉर्म करतात. So a positive test indicates that the patient's immune system has responded to the past infection. Now we'll see in brief पॉझिटिव्ह अँटीबॉडी टेस्ट आणि निगेटिव्ह अँटीबॉडी टेस्ट यामधून आपल्याला काय कळतं. सो पॉझिटिव्ह अँटीबॉडी बेसिकली इट टेल्स the person was infected, both are positive, infection was recent. कारण की जेव्हा इन्फेक्शन रिसेंट असतं सगळ्यात आधी इन्फेक्शन झाल्यानंतर बॉडीमध्ये IgM अँटीबॉडीज येतात and then IgG. Okay, so when IgM and IgG both are positive, we can say infection was recent. आणि जर फक्त IgG असेल तर मग infection was occurred more than a few weeks ago. This positive antibody test doesn't tell us about if the person has recovered. कारण की जेव्हा antibody test केली जाते, there is a possibility की persistent infection will be there inside the body. It doesn't tell about the antibodies if they are neutralizing unless a specific assay is used. त्या antibodies neutralizing आहेत का, त्या virus neutralize करतात का, हे बघण्यासाठी वेगळा assay करावा लागतो. This positive antibody test doesn't tell this about this thing. आणि it doesn't tell us about the antibody levels unless a specific assay is used such as ELISA. Now, what does the negative antibody test tell us? It could mean that the person has not been infected or the person was very recently infected. म्हणजे जर एखाद्या माणसामध्ये अँटीबॉडी नाहीये, त्याची टेस्ट निगेटिव्ह आली, तर त्याचा अर्थ असा असू शकतो की त्या माणसाला इन्फेक्शनच नाही झालं, किंवा त्या माणसामध्ये अगदी रिसेंटली इन्फेक्शन झालं असेल विदिन द लास्ट 14 days, जेव्हा अँटीबॉडी बनलाही नसतील तेव्हा तुम्ही टेस्ट केलं, किंवा द पर्सन वॉज इन्फेक्टेड अँड माउंटेड अँड अँटीबॉडी रिस्पॉन्स, पण त्याने अँटीबॉडी रिस्पॉन्स माउंट जरी केला तरी त्याच्या लेवल्स वेर व्हेरी लो, अनडिटेक्टेबल, किंवा द पर्सन वॉज इन्फेक्टेड but cleared the virus without mounting an antibody response. म्हणजे त्या व्यक्तीला इन्फेक्शन झालं पण अँटीबॉडी रिस्पॉन्स माउंट होण्याआधीच ते इन्फेक्शन क्लिअर झालं. Therefore, a negative test does not tell us if a person is susceptible to the infection. So, I'll conclude today's session with saying that stay safe, follow the protocols, keep social distance, wash your hands, cough and sneeze into your elbow, ventilate or open windows, wear a mask, and take care. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing such important and elaborate information. Ma'am, with your permission, I would like to take few questions from the audience.
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, first question is, can COVID trigger autoimmune diseases?
COVID as such triggers autoimmune diseases. There are no reports as such, but whatever the cytokine storm which is happening inside the body, it actually harms different organs of a body. So at this time we can't say if COVID causes autoimmunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question is, are patients on ACE inhibitors more susceptible to COVID-19 infection?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Are patients on ACE inhibitors more susceptible to COVID-19?
Actually, ACH2 inhibitors, they will, you are asking ki ACH2 inhibitor, the persons which are having ACH2 inhibitor. ACE inhibitor, yes.
Yeah, ACE inhibitors, yeah. Okay. They are more susceptible to COVID-19.
No, there are no such kinds of reports.
Madam, I will like to interrupt. Madam, actually this virus is actually going and binding at the ACE2 receptors at various locations, as Madam said. And this question I had asked in the first, in another webinar which was organized by Kadve sir. Basically, ACE inhibitors will be blocking this, and there were reports that some people tried the ACE inhibitors to be anti-COVID drugs, but they did not work out, like your iprosartan or your losartan and other things, but they have not worked out. So basically, why we are not taking NSAIDs is because they stimulate these ACE inhibitor, ACE receptors, and so the propensity of the spike protein going and binding in more numbers, the virus binding more numbers will be increased, and therefore we are very careful about that, and therefore these are not prescribed like your diclofenac and brufen and other things. At the most, we take only paracetamol. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Next question is, which type of vaccines are more effective based on the currently available data?
So it's very ambiguous question actually. So there are reports like the Pfizer, as I have shown in the slides, previous slides also. Actually, trials are going on, and post-market surveillance is also there. Vaccine trials is also there, going on. So up till now, all the vaccines are equally effective.
Okay. One last question, ma'am. What will be the response generated by memory cells, and what will be the duration in future if the person gets infected again with the COVID-19 virus?
Actually, it's a very nice question, and it's really near to my work, which is I'm following in HIV. There are up to now there is no report as such. If a person is infected and the memory response is generated, okay, and what that memory, if that memory cells will last for how much time, will they will be effectively generate antibodies. Actually, in our lab also, we are trying to do this research. The patients we are enrolling, we are isolating the memory B cells from them, and we are trying to find if this memory B cells they are effectively generating the antibody response when they encounter the antigen. So research is really on a very fast pace, we can say, to assess these things.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for addressing all the queries. Now I would request Professor Hirori, sir, principal.
Madam, I have a few questions. I will
Yes, sir.
interrupt.
Yes.
First
Yes.
of all, let me compliment Madam. It was the most comprehensive and very beautiful slides and very wide and very lucid coverage of the topic. One of
Thank
the
you very
best
much, sir.
webinars. Definitely,
Thank
I
you
would
very
like to
much, sir. I'm
congratulate.
really honored, sir.
And the responses are also similar. At least this is definitely unconditional. I will tell you, this is my response. Madam, I have certain questions which are more related to your field of work.
Okay.
First question is, Madam, this Sputnik is going to come for a single dose vaccine.
Yeah.
So how it is different than the two dual vaccines? Like Sputnik itself came with a first dose and second dose, or we are taking Covaxin or Covishield, 2 doses we are taking.
Yeah.
But Sputnik has announced that, and I think it is already launched also by Dr. Reddy's, single dose vaccine. What is the difference?
Actually, sir, I just read it a week before, but I really don't recall it. They have, yeah, just I'll try. They have generated a single dose vaccine.
Yeah.
In that, I think they have combined the vectors, I guess.
Okay.
I really don't recall it right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Now,
but
Madam,
if they are saying that single dose is working, I'm really surprised if it will really work, because whatever the patients are there, if they are infected, okay, they are mounting the antibody response, but it is not lasting for more than 3 months. So when the vaccination is there, so will it protect in single dose? I really have a doubt. Means time will say.
no, but Madam, DCGI has also given the permission. So definitely there may
Yeah,
be.
permission
They
actually
might have done
in on
clinical
the
trials.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam, you are working on AIDS. Which virus you find more difficult to encounter, whether the AIDS virus or whether this new coronavirus?
Sir,
Your
actually we are just
perception.
facing. Actually, sir, HIV is actually to research with HIV. It's very we can say
Complicated.
yeah, because what HIV does, it infects our immune cells. We don't have anything
Yes.
to fight them.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
least
yeah,
for
yeah.
coronaviruses, we have our immune system to fight with. We can
Yes, yes.
vaccinate, and to develop the vaccine, see, we have developed a vaccine within a year for
Yeah,
coronaviruses, and for HIV, we are trying it from 3 decades or more.
yeah. My next question was why we are not able to develop. We still have the cocktail only. Did you and other things?
Sorry, sir, your voice break. Can you repeat? Your
Yeah,
voice was
yeah. 1 minute, madam. 1 minute. Hello.
yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are
Yeah.
audible.
We don't have a vaccine. We don't have a vaccine for AIDS.
Yeah,
Here we could find within 12 months.
yes.
That was going to be my next question, but you already told that 3 decades we are not getting a vaccine.
Sir, actually, sir, there are so many aspects for HIV. So much research have been done so far, but preventive vaccines, as such, scientists have been failed till date. Because
Yeah.
HIV has so many immune escape mechanisms, so to mount a very effective immune response against that is very difficult actually. So the now whatever ART treatment has begun, so it has actually reduced the rate of infection and transmission. So
Yeah.
now the people are trying in conjugation with ART. Can we do something which will kill whatever the latent infection is there of the HIV, so we can achieve the complete cure? But still, vaccine is vaccine, means prevention
Yeah.
is better than cure always.
Yeah.
We'll try.
Because in between there was even they were going to come with a malarial vaccine which never succeeded.
Yeah.
All
So
sporon.
actually, whatever mRNA vaccines which are now streaming, that's a very fascinating area. So people are also trying for HIV right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll see. We hope in some near future we'll have vaccine for HIV also.
Okay. It will be very complicated, but I think
Yeah.
we will
Actually,
find.
mRNA vaccine, it's complicated.
It is
Actually.
complicated. I think
Yeah.
Pfizer is mRNA, their storage conditions and everything is complicated.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, madam. Kajal
Thank you very
madam.
much, sir, for inviting me.
No,
I'm really
it was
honored.
one of the best presentation, I will say.
Thank you very much.
You touched all finer points. And Kajal madam, if there are no other questions,
Yes,
you
sir.
proceed further. You invite Irode sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, actually, there were two questions meanwhile
Yeah.
in the chat box. So, can I, sir, if time permits?
Yeah. Please.
Okay. Madam, one question is there that is plasma therapy effective? And after recovery, within how many days one can donate plasma?
Actually, plasma therapy has been practiced from so many years. Okay. So in case of COVID patients also, some reports are there that plasma therapy works, but some reports are there that it doesn't work.
No,
So
I think WHO has also
currently,
taken it out. WHO has
yeah,
also
it
taken
has
it
taken
out.
it. Initially, it was allowed, but now it is not in the protocol to give plasma right now. And after infection, right now, firstly, when the infection occurred in past few months, the government was saying ki, you should have to follow quarantine for 17 days and so. But some reports are there, you are not negative, PCR negative. So if at all you want to donate a plasma, first you should be RT-PCR negative, and second thing is you should have antibodies in your plasma. Then only you can donate your plasma, because in some patients, even for a month also, antibodies doesn't rest in the body.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. One last question, it is there in the chat box that I have taken first dose of vaccine on the 6th March, but I was positive on 3rd of April.
Oh.
I am diabetic, but sugar is under control. So when should I take the second dose?
Actually, there are by ICMR for vaccination, and you actually have to consult doctors, and you really have to check your sugar firstly. And within how many days they have infection? Can you say?
Within 1 month, on 6th March, he had first vaccine. On 3rd April, he was positive.
Okay, because now between two doses, the duration is of 84 days, no? And in between you have infection. So whatever the protocol is there for taking first dose also, and that with 84 days, whichever is bigger time span, I think that should be the date when you should take second dose. And actually, there are some guidelines on ICMR. You should go and visit and consult your doctor also.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. It was really a wonderful session. Now I would request Professor Hirode sir, Principal Kekewag Institute of Pharmacy, to say few words. Please, sir.
Yes, thank you, madam. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes.
Yes, sir,
Thank
you are audible.
Yes, yes. In this 1 hour webinar, Mrs. Jayashree Dhande, madam, provide a thorough overview of coronavirus COVID-19 infection, pathogenesis, and immune responses. Madam systematically covers basic aspects of SARS-CoV-19, its current scenario, global scenario, classification, its origin and transmission of pathogenic SARS-CoV, the structure of SARS-CoV, reason behind mutation, infection cycle of SARS-CoV in host body immune responses, antibody-mediated immunity, cytokine storm, vaccine-induced immunity, types of COVID-19 vaccines, test for COVID-19 detections. Madam, your today's presentation is really more informative and excellent, and I'm very much thankful for enlightenment of our students and staff. Thank you. Hello.
Kajal madam, please come in.
Yes, sir.
Ajal madam,
Yes,
please
sir.
proceed.
Thank you so much, Hirode sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Now I would request Amrutkar sir, HOD Pharmaceutical Chemistry, to present vote of thanks. Please, sir.
Yes, thank you, madam. I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
अमृतकर सर, हाँ
Yes, yes, sir.
वीडियो ऑन करा ना. ओके ओके चला ठीक है.
There is a range problem.
ओके ओके.
तर बँडविड्थचा इश्यू आहे त्यांच्या इथे.
हो हो
Yes.
चला.
Good afternoon, all. As all good things come to an end in life, so is this webinar. On behalf of Kekewag College of Pharmacy, Nasik, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this webinar on SARS-CoV-2 infection, pathogenesis, and immune response by our institute. At the outset, I thank you, our resource person, Mrs. Jayashree Dhande, madam. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. We are thankful to our management, trustees, president, Honorable Sri Balasaheb Waksar, and secretary for their motivation and providing this platform and opportunity. I would like to thank Dr. K. Jain sir and Professor R.A. Hirode sir for their enthusiastic support. A special thanks to organizing committee, teaching and non-teaching staff for their unflinching support and coordination. Our heartfelt thanks to our delegates for active participation. With these warm words and kind message, we move to the end of today's webinar. Thank you.
Sir, we are
With the
very
due
thankful
permission
to
of
we are very thankful to Amrutkar sir for getting us such a good speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
sir.
madam. Thank you.
Thank you very
With
much.
the due
Sir.
permission, with the due permission of principal sir, I would like to conclude today's session.
Yeah. Thank you very much, madam. It was a
Thank
nice
you very much,
webinar.
sir.
And thanks all audience for patiently hearing. At one time, we had even crossed 383 number, and it was always dwindling around 350, 380. So it was a wonderful webinar. Though it was on a odd time, little bit. Generally, we conduct the webinars after 3:30, but still there was slowly the